Hi Gloria, thank you for uploading your pictures this week. Yep, let's get going. So this is trying to show the idea of a quick shutter speed. So whoever this is running, obviously we can't know how fast it's running, but the point is that at 1,000th of a second, which is what your camera was set to, it was completely adequate to freeze him. So you can see that he appears as still as this kid over here, which means that 1,000th of a second generally for anyone running is going to be completely acceptable. Okay, so just keep that in mind as like a number. When I'm taking pictures of people running, I'm always trying to get past 1,000th of a second, a 1,250 or a 1,600, quicker than that, and then you can be sure that no matter how quickly they're running, they're going to be pin sharp. Okay, and we can see also at a 60th of a second, we can see movement, which means a 60th of a second, it's important to remember, is not going to kind of cut it when it comes to freezing your subject. I'm interested to know what you did in regards to focus here, because the truth is you are actually focused all the way through, which is kind of interesting. Generally with this kind of picture, your camera will not be able to focus on a moving subject. So what you would generally do, although you've got focus the whole way along here, which you're going to learn in the next class in depth of field, what generally would be the best thing to do would be to focus on the floor. Remember, focus is distance. So what we're trying to do is lock our camera on a certain distance, which means wherever your subject's going to be, that's going to be a certain distance for you. You could focus on something else that is that same distance from you. So if you focused on the floor here, and then you either held your shutter halfway, you kept your finger depressed on the shutter, or you turned it onto manual focus, either way, then when your subject moves, you'd be able to take a picture and you'll be able to get the focus. Okay, and here we can see clearly at a 15th of a second, we've got a lot of motion blur. Okay, but you've actually managed to hold the camera pretty steady. You can see by the fact that these lines here are very sharp. That's great. You did really well. That's perfect. A perfect example of shutter speed. Okay, this is also a good shot. I'm assuming this took you a few tries to get, because this is very good, really excellent. Just to make it more, just a little bit more dynamic, we can turn it into a panoramic, but that really is a great shot. Love that. I always forget, but now I'm seeing all these pictures from the students, is I want to try and remember to take a picture like this on a photo shoot. So I'm going to try and do that for the next shoot that I have, if I can remember, and I will show you that if I can do that. But this is a great shot, especially in a park where there's lots of greenery and stuff. This is a great speed, more than a 15th of a second, and it will probably won't cut it. But if you got down low and there was a kid running in a grassy area, and you'd get the movement of the legs and the arms and stuff like that, you can end up with a really nice picture. Okay, that was great. Okay, this is a good try. Now it's good. This is a good try. Remember we mentioned about doing it on a dark background, so I can see you try to do that. You're a little close. I don't know how much. If you could have gotten further back a little bit, it would have been a bit easier. You've done 30 seconds. That's fine. You can see it looks like she was sitting here for longer, and then she was probably here for something like 15 seconds, here for 10 seconds, and here for 5 seconds, something like that. But we can see clearly that where there's a black background, our subject really kind of stands out, whereas when it's a white background, the subject doesn't stand out. If in a sense you could look at photography, I'm just going to say this quickly, if you don't understand it, it's not such a big deal. This used to be part of the syllabus, but I decided it wasn't so essential. Photography you can think of as like a black canvas, and when you expose light to it, it kind of scratches away the black and it leaves light, and then you can't go back to black. Okay, if you could understand that, it really needs some more explanation, but that's the reason why the white shines through and we don't see our subject on the white, whereas we do on the black. Okay, let's keep going. Okay, this is a great example of traffic lines. You held the camera semi-steady. It was 10 seconds. You can see that you basically held it steady twice, in that there was a moment you shifted, the camera shifted. Yeah, you see this line was there for a few seconds, then the camera moved in the middle, and then it was still again. To get this kind of picture perfect, the actual camera has to be like stationary, like down on a table, on a tripod, where you can let go and nothing will happen. For example, if I'm balancing my camera, let me see, you can see my microphone here, 1 second, you can't really, let me put this down a drop. Okay, this is my microphone. If I'm balancing my camera, so to speak, on here, I can kind of hold it steady, but it's not really steady. Okay, if I let go, it falls. Okay, so it's the when you're holding a camera steady, it really, when we say steady, we mean really steady. It means ultimately steady, which means you can let go of the camera and it will not in any way, shape or form move. So that didn't happen here exactly, but it's pretty close. We see all the reflections from, I think it looks like you were inside. Maybe you were inside, maybe not. But maybe looks like there were reflections. Not so sure. But you can see anyway the camera moved. These lines are a good example of what we were trying to get to. Great. Okay, the fun bit. Let's look at your photo shoot. Okay, I like your camera. The colours are very vibrant. I don't know if you did any post here, but I do like this. I would constantly be thinking about getting down lower. For pictures of kids, constantly trying to get down lower than this. This is still looking down a little bit. It's just much more, it's kind of much more interesting when you're down lower. It creates a perspective of something that we don't usually see, which kind of engages us a bit more. Be careful in regards to cropping in close. All this area around here isn't really necessary. Okay, it's nice and sharp. You've got good focus, good exposure. Let's just see what stats you're using. Yep. Okay, you're on program. That's fine. Okay, that's good. That's a good picture. Nice, close, nice interaction between the kids. Sharp. Okay. Okay, so now you're thinking. I appreciate the thinking. Putting your subject on the third, which is more intelligent than just sticking them in the middle. In regards to energies, ideally when something's on the third and our subject's on the third, we want some, not always, but generally we want some kind of energy moving into space. In this picture, the energy is very much coming straight towards you. There really is no movement this way or this way. In anything, it's a teeny bit this way, but basically it's coming straight forward. This kind of picture, I would be thinking of shooting with a central composition. Something like this. Okay, remember the rule of thirds. I've said this a few times, but remember the rule of thirds means that it doesn't have to be that your subject is on the third. It means that the underlying geometric structure of the image, which is the lines and the shapes, have a relationship to the third. So here we have, this is one of the third lines over here, and this is one of the third lines over here. Okay, that means our subject is completely in relationship to the thirds. When you center your subject, there is a relationship to the thirds. Okay, I like this picture, it's nice. Okay, good, this is very cute. Cut away excess space. There's no benefit to this. Look how gorgeous he is. Okay, let's crop in close. Right now let's say he's filling, let's say, I don't know, 30% of the frame. If we crop in super close, by the way, I appreciate now that you're down lower, that I can see, and I appreciate that, that's great. But let's crop in really close. Remember, cropping in close gives you the two eyes, which is intimacy and intensity. Although it doesn't really make sense to say intimate and intense, but it just pushes it in the dynamic direction, in the more energized direction. See the difference? Great. Okay, so this is cute, but generally we're avoiding backs of heads. Backs of heads are very uninteresting, so it's definitely nice. For example, well, this is nice because they're being entertained by somebody else and there is an interaction here. This would be lovely if you were on this side, looking the other way. To see the kid's face would make a big difference. I would retake this picture with this kid looking towards me and this kid, and it would even work really nicely if you were on this side because his face here is actually facing that way. So that would have been great. I feel that you're really on the wrong side for this picture. Always keep in mind, not that you can't take the picture of the backs of people. I generally, for every shoot I take, generally a picture of people walking away from me. That's fine. But it's usually a far, like a wide shot, and the point of the shot with the backs of people is usually some kind of structural kind of shape that gets created from a whole bunch of people. It's not that I'm actually concentrating on individual backs of people. It's basically, without exception, that backs of people are considered boring and they're just not interesting. So stay away from that. So if you'd come the other side, I think that would have worked much better. Let's keep going. That's a nice moment. That's cute. Focus wise, how's your focus? The focus is okay. I would ideally like to have some more room here. Now, see what we were talking about the thirds. Now we have a lot of good energy moving to the left side. Okay, coming from this way. Now, the problem's going to be if I crop this. You've obviously cropped this because I know your camera doesn't shoot square. Just move me out of the way. So I would really, I'll show you what I'm thinking. If we do this, I'm just going to open this quickly in Photoshop just to show you. I'm going to just do it very quickly, but to show you what I would be thinking because of the directions, because of the tensions of your subject. I would be thinking to do something, excuse me, 1 second. I'm just going to do this. It's going to look kind of funny, but I'm just going to do it to show you what I'm talking about. Do you see how this picture, again, it would be better if you were lower down, but the energies of the kid, because he's facing towards the rock, really needed some more room. Do you see how this is kind of a bit jarring, and this just gives you that extra space for your eye to float around? Okay, and let's look at this picture. This is it's a nice picture. The look doesn't really do it, so I prefer the expression in the other picture. Let's have a look here. But this is a better composition, so we've got a better obviously a much better expression, but compositionally this is better. Remember, composition or graphics or any kind of graphical value never ever overrides emotion or interaction or expression, etc. Expression always overrides all the graphical elements, but the key is to get everything together. Let's see, which one should we take into Lightroom? This is quite cute. You know what I think? Let's do that. We're going to do an interesting edit here. Let's take this one in. I know it's probably not what you're thinking, but let's do it anyway. Just to show you, like we could do, general edits on those other ones, warm them up a little bit, but here we're going to do something a little different. Let's have a look. Excuse me. Now, I'm looking at this picture and I'm just thinking super energy. I'm going to go black and white, and I'm going to use really high contrast and a lot of clarity. Let's see, I've got my power black and white here, which adds highlights, whites. It just pumps up we're going to put a bit more contrast in, and then put the clarity right up as well. I'm going to open up the, just make his face a bit brighter. I think there's not really that much more to do here. This is great. I love this shot. I'm going to add a bit more attention to him by, remember how we add attention to our subject? We've got two options. We either add attention to our subject or we take away attention from everywhere else. So in this case, we are going to take attention away from everywhere else by darkening it. So I'll pull this out a little bit more. And I think we are done. We went from here to here. A lot of energy in that picture. Okay, Gloria, amazing. Impressed, very impressed. Looking forward to seeing what you do for us next week. As you go forward, especially the next class, you're going to start learning how to make the background blurry. Things are going to start coming together, and you're going to start looking at the pictures that you're taking now, thinking, I can't believe I was doing that. But it's a learning process, and every element is built on the next element. And so far, to say so far so good is an understatement. You're doing excellently, and looking forward to seeing what you do for us next week. Okay, all the best.